Hello, Mark. I'm going to read Vocabulary Book Chapter 14. Austere, esoteric, facsimile, grotesque, mesmerize, metamorphosis, notorious, perfunctory, provocative, travesty. 10 words in context. In the space provided, write the letter of the meaning closest to that of each bold-faced word. Use the context of the sentences to help you figure out each word's meaning. Austere. Adjective. Miss Jones' appearance was austere. She wore plain, quiet clothing with no jewelry, and she never used makeup. The walls in Alan's den are white and nearly bare, and his white furniture has simple lines. This austere decor gives the room a pleasantly calm mood. Austere means A. Very ugly, B. Very plain, C. Very useful. Esoteric. The instruction manuals that comes with computer software often use such esoteric terms that they seem to be written in a foreign language. The poetry of Israel Pound, filled with references to ancient Greek culture, is too esoteric for most readers. Esoteric means A. Difficult to understand, B. Shallow, C. Unfavorable. Facsimile. Noun. When a facsimile of an old Sears Roebuck catalog was published recently, it became a bestseller. People enjoyed seeing what was for sale a century ago. The word fax is short for facsimile. With a fax machine, you can send a precise image of a document across the country electronically in seconds. Facsimile means A. An original, B. A distorted version, C. An accurate copy. Grotesque. Adjective. Most people found the movie character E.T. adorable, but I thought the little alien was grotesque. With its weird combination of babyish features and old wrinkled skin. The clown made grotesque faces, squinted his eyes, pulling down the corners of his mouth, and sticking out his tongue. Grotesque means A. Strange looking, B. Hard to understand, C. Charming. Mesmerize. Verb. The intense eyes of the woman in the photograph mesmerized me. I couldn't take my eyes off the picture. When driving at night, you can become mesmerized by the lines on the road, or by other cars' headlights or taillights. To avoid hypnotic states, keep your eyes moving from front to side to rear view mirror. Mesmerize means A. To amuse, B. To fascinate, C. To distort. Metamorphosis. A caterpillar's transformation into a butterfly is a well-known example of metamorphosis. In Franz Kafka's famous story, The Metamorphosis, a man wakes up on his 30th birthday to discover that he has turned into an enormous insect. Metamorphosis means A. A change in form, B. A disaster, C. A scientific theory. Notorious. Adjective. Batman and Robin watch wits with the Joker and the Penguin, who are notorious for their evil deeds. The local diner is notorious for bitter coffee, soggy vegetables, lamb salads, and mystery meat. Notorious means A. Regarded negatively, B. Regarded with curiosity, C. Ignored. Perfunctory. Adjective. The doctor's examination was perfunctory. He seemed to be just going through the motions without taking any interest in the patient. Most of the candidates were passionate on the subject of nuclear weapons, but one spoke in a very perfunctory way, apparently bored with the topic. Perfunctory means A. Uninterested, B. Enthusiastic, C. Exaggerated. Provocative adjective. A good essay is provocative, said our English instructor. It gets the reader interested and attentive, starting with the very first paragraph. To arouse the viewer's curiosity, the television ad began with a provocative image: a spaceship landing on a baseball field at home plate. Provocative means A. Predictable, B. Difficult to understand, C. Attention-getting. Travesty. Noun. The fraternity skits, a travesty of college life, exaggerated and ridiculed many campus activities. The musical comedy version of Hamlet was a travesty. The critics and audience agreed that it made a mockery of Shakespeare's profound tragedy. Travesty means A. A joking, disrespectful imitation, B. An exact copy, C. A simple version. Matching words with definitions. Following are definitions of the 10 words. Clearly write or print each word next to its definition. The sentences above and on the previous page will help you decide on the meaning of each word. Mesmerize, to hypnotize or fascinate. Hold spellbound. Metamorphosis, a great or complete change. Transformation. Travesty, a crude, exaggerated, or ridiculous presentation. Mockery. Perfunctory, done only as a routine with little care or interest, performed with no interest or enthusiasm. Notorious, known widely but unfavorably, having a bad reputation. Provocative, tending to arouse interest or curiosity. Facsimile, an exact copy or reproduction. Esoteric, intended for or understood by only a certain group, beyond the understanding of most people. Austere, without decoration or luxury, severely simple. Grotesque, distorted, or strikingly inconsistent in shape, appearance, or manner. Caution, do not go any further until you are sure the above answers are correct. Then you can use the definitions to help you in the following practices. Your goal is eventually to know the words well enough so that you don't need to check the definitions at all. Sentences check 1. Using the answer line provided, complete each item below with the correct word from the box. Use each word once. A. Austere. B. Esoteric. C. Facsimile. D. Grotesque. E. Mesmerize. F. Metamorphosis. G. Notorious. H. Perfunctory. I. Provocative. J. Travesty. Travesty. The trial was a travesty of justice because several of the jurors had been bribed. King Henry XVI of England was notorious not only for getting married 6 times, but also for ordering 2 of his wives executed. To capture readers' attention, an author sometimes begins an article with a provocative question such as, which do you think is more dangerous, climbing stairs or parachuting out of an airplane? In some modern paintings, human figures are distorted into such grotesque shapes that it's hard to recognize facial features and body parts. Lining the music school's hallway are framed facsimiles of handwritten pages of music by great composers. Legal documents are usually worded in such esoteric language that most people need a lawyer to translate the legalese into plain English. As I stood looking at the grandfather clock, I began mesmerized by the shining pendulum. It swung back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Usually, the therapist showed great interest in her patients, but today she was too worried about her own family to give more than perfunctory responses. My sister's dormitory room is rather austere, with cement block walls and bare floors. But she's made it less stark by hanging colorful posters and adding bright bedspreads and cushions. The magician David Copperfield does a trick called metamorphosis. One person is chained and locked in a box. When the box is opened, that person is gone. Someone else is chained there instead. Note: check your answers to these questions by turning to page 178. Going over the answers carefully would help you prepare for the next two practices for which answers are not given. Sentence check 2. Use the answer lines provided. Complete each item below with two words from the box. Use each word once. Grotesque. The political cartoon showed the judge as a grotesque figure with a huge belly and a gaping mouth. To me, it's unfair. A travesty of journalistic ethics. The cat burglar in the film. Grotesque for stealing expensive jewelry, committing all his robberies, wearing an austere outfit, a black t-shirt, plain black pants, black shoes, and black gloves. The novel has a provocative opening scene in which a young woman and her parents sneak out of a house on a ladder. The novel goes on to mesmerize the reader with one spell-binding episode after another. Former principals had made only perfunctory efforts to rid the school of drugs, but the new principal attacked the problem head-on. As a result, the school has undergone a metamorphosis from hooked to clean. At the jurors' convention, facsimiles of several famous gems were on display. I enjoyed seeing them, but I didn't understand the accompanying esoteric explanation of the technical methods used to produce the copies. Final check. A costume party. Here is a final opportunity for you to strengthen your knowledge of the 10 words. First, read the following selection carefully, then fill in each blank with a word from the box at the top of the previous page. Context clues will help you figure out which word goes in which blank. Use each word once. On the afternoon of a friend's New Year's Eve costume party, I made only a perfunctory effort to put a costume on. Unenthusiastic about spending much time on this, I wanted to do something as simple as possible, even if the efforts would be rather austere. I decided on a ghost costume, just a plain sheet with eye holes cut out. Since all my sheets are green, I had to be the ghost of a frog. The party began for me with a rather provocative encounter. The door was opened by Julia Roberts, clutching her Best Actress Oscar, or at least a very good facsimile of it. Then, when I went inside, the first men I saw were two notorious pirates, Blackbeard and Captain Hook. I listened in on their conversation, expecting to be mesmerized by fascinating tales of cutthroat adventures. Instead, I heard only the esoteric language of two math majors, giving up any hope of understanding their remarks. I looked around for my own friends. Their metamorphosis from ordinary people to famous or odd people was so complete that I couldn't recognize anyone. Most of the costumes were in good taste. One, though, struck me as a travesty. A person dressed as Abraham Lincoln, a president I venerate for his character and leadership, was wearing a bullseye target. In crude mockery of President Lincoln's assassination, another person looked frighteningly grotesque, with mouth twisted to one side and three eyes, all of different sizes. In the course of the evening, I also met Cleopatra, Shakespeare, and Snoopy, among others. I may never again spend time at a gathering replete with so many celebrities. Scores. Second check. 2. Final check. Enter your scores above and in the vocabulary performance chart on the inside back cover of the book. Thank you for listening.